Great, thanks very much, Sarah. So it's great to see so many people on and taking a bit of time out of the sunshine today. Thank you so much for doing that. I don't think we've got anybody in the garden, but we've definitely had people doing our webinars from the garden this week. It's just been so nice, hasn't it? I mean, from the Chamber's point of view, I guess some of you may have heard me talking about this, but I mean, one of the things that we have been doing is looking at our webinar programme. We do 4 webinars a week, so we start off on a Tuesday with a member-only networking session during the day, and then on a Tuesday evening it's our guide to. And if you missed that one last night, then it was a guide to promoting your business and building your connections through the Chamber of Commerce. So you can catch that on YouTube. All of our webinars are on YouTube. So Wednesdays sees us doing our Take a Break series, and this is obviously today's session, which is all about supporting people. And from the very beginning, when we were putting together our webinar programme, we knew that people were desperate for information about how to support your business. So Thursday mornings is our session about supporting businesses and supporting the organisation that you work for or that you run. But supporting the people, whether they're in your business or whether it's just you or whether it's about supporting your friends or your family or the people around you, is really, really important too. So Wednesdays are all about taking a break and supporting people. And we've done some fantastic webinars. So we started off looking at mental health, and we've done motivation and managing people remotely, all sorts of different things. And this one's going to be super interesting. Unfortunately, I have a clash and I can't stay on for all of it. So if it looks like I've disappeared, I have to put my hands up and say I probably will have. But I know that I can go back and look at it on YouTube, and I'm looking forward to doing that. Today for me has also seen me updating our COVID hub. So like many organisations, we have got a COVID-19 hub on our website, and there's actually, we put out an e-newsletter on a Wednesday evening that just rounds up all of that news and our economic update report that we put out. So actually today there's a bunch of things that have gone live on that COVID hub that are just pulling together some of the government advice and information that's coming out. So if you haven't seen it yet, the Scottish Government they made a statement in Parliament, we don't have the detail on it yet, but about some increases to the funding support for businesses. So the government have extended the eligibility of the current small business and the retail, hospitality and leisure grants. So if you've got multiple premises with the value of more than 51k, then you now fall within the boundaries of that scheme. They've expanded it. Also, if you're a business that occupies premises, so shared office spaces and business incubators and shared industrial units, where you're not the ratepayer but the landlord is, now in Scotland you're eligible for support, which is great. And then also businesses that were ineligible to apply for the hardship funds because they didn't have a business bank account, the Scottish Government have committed to being able to support those companies. So I think that just proves that there's just so much of this information that's just changing all the time, and the Chamber's been working very hard to keep itself up to date on the information we've got so that we can fire that out so that you can kind of know what's going on. Sector guidance has been now published from the Scottish Government. So for manufacturing and the retail sector, there's some very detailed guidance that applies to Scotland only, and some guidance also for customers, so that we as customers and you that have customers know how to make sure that we're all as safe as possible. And more specific sector guidance is definitely coming, and we've been talking to the government about that. We're also waiting for public sector, public transport guidance to come out. So, you know, it's really important that people that don't have access or want to use their own transport can access public transport safely. And we've also been talking to Explore Dundee about how the local bus service will work, and you know, whether employers are going to transition staggered starts, and all of that kind of thing is all bubbling away. And then you'll likely have seen that the Test and Protect scheme in Scotland has been rolled out nationally. So again, there's guidance on there for employers about what that might mean for you when you need to pass that information on to your people. So lots and lots and lots going on, but I'm just going to get out of the way now, and it's important, I think, that we can hand over to our 2 speakers so that we can get on with the session. So it's brilliant to have Rachel and Joe with us today. And I haven't experienced one of Joe's classes before, but the chamber team have, and really talk very highly of getting involved with the work that Joe's doing. And I have been in a session with Rachel where we've talked about sleep and all the benefits of good sleep, and all the different S's in the bedroom. I don't know if Rachel's going to talk about that, but she tends to drop that into the conversation. So I hope I've not just stolen your thunder. So I'm going to get out of the way and hand over to Rachel. Rachel, once I can hear you, once you've unmuted, I will mute and I'll let you know that we can hear you, and then I'll be out of your way.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm sorry if there's a bit of background noise. They're doing some building next door. Have you met me before? Because I was up in Dundee last year, May time. No, 2 years ago, May time. So, so completely new to me. So I run a company called Wake Up with Zest, and I specialise in workplace wellbeing, looking after what I call the 4 pillars of vitality, which are sleep well, eat smart, move more, and chill out. So today we're going to be talking about improving your sleep. So you can either put this in the chat box or you can raise your hand. How many people are having problems with their sleep at the moment? Okay, so a few of you are. And how many of you are sleeping better? Okay, right, so there's more people sleeping better. And next question is, are you having more vivid and weird dreams since the lockdown? Okay, right, so the reason for this is that you're probably sleeping in your natural sleep cycle. So if you're going to bed more or less at the same time every night and waking up the same time every morning, and you're not having to commute, and even though you're working from home, you're still working, but you kind of got into a natural sleep cycle. So you're probably waking up naturally, which means that you're more likely to remember your dreams. And I've had a recurring dream for the last 2 nights where I am supposed to be looking after Dominic Cummings's children. So I don't know what all that is about. So it's weird how the unconscious mind works. And I don't have kids either, so. But if you are having sort of weird dreams and maybe quite disturbing dreams, it's your sort of unconscious mind sort of working through all the things it's experiencing during the day, and it's consolidating all those experiences and learnings and deciding whether or not they're going to be going into long-term memory from your short-term memory. So this is why you may have just like sort of bizarre things that sort of just go through your head. So sleep is absolutely sacred. It is the #1 thing for your health. And I see there's a gentleman here from a mattress company. We should talk later. But yeah, sleep is the #1 thing for your health, because so many things are happening during your sleep, and you're sleeping in 4 different stages. So you've got very light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep, which is rapid eye movement sleep, or your dream state sleep. And how many of you have got Fitbits? Put your hands up or wave at me, or I can't see everybody, or some way of tracking your sleep, an Apple Watch or something like that. Okay, so you're probably used to seeing the graph on your phone where it's sort of going from maybe red down to dark blue, but we actually sleep in 90-minute cycles where we're actually going through the 4 different stages of sleep. The first 2 cycles, as I said, they're 90-minute cycles. So the first 2 cycles will be predominantly deep sleep, and then it tapers off to REM sleep. So a lot of people say to me, how can I get more deep sleep? So, well, you have to look after your sleep. As I say, you need to treasure it, but you're not going to get much more than 20% deep sleep. And if you do, there's something wrong with you. But you need to have all 4 levels of sleep. So what is happening in your sleep? So in deep sleep, when our body is at its most relaxed, your blood pressure is at its lowest, brain activity is very, very slow, your breathing slowed down, and so is your heart rate. This is where I say the magic happens. So this is when your brain is doing its detox, So during the day, we're getting a build-up of a sticky protein in between our brain cells called beta amyloid. And beta amyloid, if it's left to build up over decades, is potentially what can cause Alzheimer's and dementia. So what happens in deep sleep is our brain cells shrink down and fluid comes up through the spine, and it almost like shampoos in between all the brain cells to get rid of this buildup of this sticky plaque. And then afterwards, it sort of goes back to normal again. So if you wake up in the morning and you are sort of feeling a bit foggy-headed, you don't feel that you slept particularly well, this is the protein, this plaque, causing this foggy feeling. And if you know that you don't sleep for like several nights in a row, how bad you feel. They say it's like the equivalent of being drunk. So if you're sleeping less than 5 hours a night, 4 nights in a row, that's where you sort of start to feel like really quite jittery, short-tempered. You're just reaching out for the carbs all the time. So cleaning up your brain is one of the things that happens. Free radicals are cleaned up. So free radicals are these cells that potentially can cause cancer. Also in deep sleep, it's when your cells, muscles and tissues are all repaired. And then it's the regulation and resetting of things like your blood pressure, your metabolism, your hormones, your digestive system. Then, of course, as I mentioned before, memory processing and learning consolidation. Now, if you don't sleep properly over a long period of time, you're increasing your risk of anxiety and depression. So sleep deprivation is a precursor to depression. You're risking increased high blood pressure, stroke risk, heart disease, heart failure, type 2 diabetes, some forms of cancer, and as I mentioned before, Alzheimer's and dementia. So how do you get a great night's sleep? Well, it depends what you're doing during the day to, whatever you're doing during the day will determine how you're going to sleep at night. So you need to be aware of certain things, and I call them sleep feeds. So things like alcohol. Alcohol may seem like a good idea. We kind of think it's a sedative, it makes us sleepy, but at some point it will wake us up, because you're not going to sort of fall asleep and sleep all the way through the night. At some point you're going to wake up and you're generally going to feel quite thirsty, dehydrated, maybe want to go to the loo a lot in the night. But alcohol upsets your REM sleep, so the ability for your so when I talk about the consolidation of memory, the actual physical part of moving the memories from short term to long term actually happens in REM sleep, and alcohol disrupts this. And then we've got caffeine. Caffeine is not only found in coffee, it's found in green tea, normal tea, chocolate, energy drinks. And so it's something to be mindful of if you're not sleeping very well, to cut down on your caffeine intake. And caffeine disrupts neurotransmitters in the brain called adenosine, which drive the need for sleep. So this is where if you've been drinking caffeine, you feel tired, but you're also wired. It's just stopping that sleep function. Also, another important thing is your tech. So we've become very reliant on our good old screens, whether it's a phone, whether it's a tablet or a laptop, staring at screens. And we're doing a lot more of screen sort of looking at the moment with all the Zoom calls we're doing. But have a break from your screens at least 60 to 90 minutes before bedtime. And no tech in the bedroom, because all this stuff is going to interfere with your sleep. Even if you've got it on do not disturb, if you have to have a phone in the bedroom, have it in flight mode as well. But all these electrical items like laptops, phones, tablets, or even TVs in the bedroom emit electromagnetic pollution, which means that potentially it's going to disrupt your sleep. Also, a good thing at the moment before bedtime is to have a news embargo. So maybe social media as well, because do you know what? The news is pretty depressing at the moment. So I kind of just like check in once a day and maybe have a scan through the Times online. But 10 o'clock news just before bedtime, not such a good idea. Pets in the bedroom, they get their sleep feeds as well. I used to have a cat that used to like to sleep between me and my then husband, and I realised actually for 10 years I didn't sleep properly because the cat used to take up all the room. So pets in the bed, not such a good idea. And then it's important to have a sleep routine as well, a bedtime routine. So as I say, you know, switch off your tech at least 60 to 90 minutes before bedtime and relax before bed. If you're going to bed stressed, you're not going to be getting a great night's sleep. You also need to create an 8-hour window for your sleep. You may not necessarily sleep 8 hours, but it's just something that is a non-negotiable, that you have like 8 hours, say between 10 and 6 or half 10 and half 6, because at least you're giving your body and your mind time to relax. And that tip actually comes from a guy called Professor Matthew Walker, who wrote the book Why We Sleep. And I saw him speak last year at a lecture. Absolutely brilliant man. And it's actually something that I've started doing, rather than just thinking, okay, I sleep about 7 hours, that's fine, but actually giving myself that 8-hour window is really important. So now going on to your sleeping environment. So your bedroom should be dark. And I guess for those of you up in Scotland, you're not having very many hours of darkness at the moment. We're nearly about sort of 3 or 4 weeks away from midsummer. So make sure your bedroom is dark, or if you can't make it dark, wear an eye mask. It's quiet, and if you find there's a lot of external noise, actually it's probably quite quiet at the moment while we're in lockdown. But wear earplugs. I should have got mine out. I buy earplugs off Amazon. They're bright pink and bright yellow. They're called Laser Light, and they're great. They're really soft and spongy, so they're great for cutting out noise. Also, make sure your bedrooms are well ventilated. You've got a window open or you've got a fan on. It's cool. So cool, it should be between 16 to 18 degrees centigrade. And it's nice. It's a calm environment as well, and it's tidy, and it's very comfortable as well. So you're going to be spending about a third of your life in bed asleep. So if you live to be 90, you'll be asleep for 30 years. And I will say, as Alison mentioned, that there are 2 things that you should only be doing in your bedroom, and they both begin with S. One of them is sleep. I'll leave the other one up to your imagination. When I was doing a webinar the other day, somebody put sandwiches. So it is not sandwiches. So 2 S's in the bedroom, sleep and the other one. And you can also read in bed as well. Make sure your bed is also comfortable. That does your mattress need an MOT? Do you need to get a new mattress? And we have a gentleman here, I'm sure, who will be able to advise you on mattresses. So make sure your mattress is comfortable. It's worth trying them out in the shops when the shops are open, or if you get them on a 100-night trial. Also, good quality bed linen as well, because as I say, you're spending a third of your life in bed, so you want it to be comfy and also have good pillows as well. I've just invested in organic wool bedding, so I have a wool duvet. So I found that a lot more comfortable to sleep in than sleeping with feathers. So we'll just quickly go on. I hope I'm all right for time. So we'll just quickly go on to some sleep tips. So if you're finding it difficult to sleep, don't look at the clock, because that's going to cause more anxiety. If you're finding it difficult to sleep, breathing is the first thing that you should be doing. So nice, slow, deep breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, yoga style breathing, Joe, and belly breathing. So you're breathing deep into your diaphragm or your belly, pushing your belly out, so that you're just getting your lungs full of air. So nice deep breaths in and nice breaths out. So there's 3 techniques that I'm going to tell you about very briefly. So one of them is called the 4-7-8 technique, where you breathe in for 4, you hold for 7, and you breathe out for 8. And if you do that about 3 or 4 times, it just relaxes your body. It just sort of gets your body in touch with the parasympathetic nervous system, your kind of what they call your rest and digest side of your nervous system, rather than the adrenaline side. Or there's something called square breathing, which is 4-4-4-4, which is in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4, and then you can keep repeating that. Another one is just counting 1 to 10. So in for 1, out for 2, in for 3, out for 4. So you just keep repeating that up to 10 and just keep repeating that. So I try all of those, you know, if I'm having problems sleeping. Or you could try a bit of reverse psychology where you try and stay awake. So focus on something in your very dark bedroom. If you can see something, just make something up. And just try and keep your eyes open. As soon as you feel your eyelids beginning to close, just open your eyes again. And eventually you'll fall asleep, but you won't know you've fallen asleep until you wake up again. So that's quite a nice one. If you really can't sleep, get up and read. So get away from the bed, because you don't want to associate your bedroom with not being able to sleep. So get up, make yourself a cuppa, a decaf cuppa, and just read. No screens. Don't start checking in with email or working or watching the telly. So just find something relaxing to read, and then only go back to sleep when you feel tired. And then there's some sleepy snacks that you could try. So you want to try foods which have tryptophan in them. So bananas and kiwi fruit are great. Nuts and seeds, almonds are really great. Walnuts, almond butter, oats are great. So porridge or oat cake. So maybe a bit of almond butter on an oat cake. Just going back to actually to bananas, I always find if I'm traveling and potentially go somewhere where I might get jet lag, I always make sure as soon as I get to my destination, I get some bananas so that I can sort of munch them in the night if I feel, if I've woken up, and generally they send me back to sleep again. Warm milk is good, tart cherry juice, chicken, turkey, oily fish, but you don't kind of want to eat those before bedtime or in the middle of the night, and things like hummus as well. So really, that's kind of what I just wanted to cover very briefly on sleep today. So it's really important you look after your sleep, because if you look after your sleep, it will look after you. And you can see that, you know, from if you don't get enough good quality sleep and you're not getting enough deep sleep, potentially you're storing up health problems. So has anybody got any questions they want to ask me? So if you want to ask a question, I guess you just unmute yourself and just ask me. Or you could type something into the chat box.
They all look a bit shy just now, Rachel. I think they're all practicing their breathing techniques. Or, they're checking how many walnuts they've got in their cupboard for tonight and stocking up if they don't have it. That's great. I mean, if anybody does have any questions that they think of for Rachel, pop them in the chat, and we'll come on to them after Jo. But thanks very much, Rachel. Very interesting.
You're very welcome.
I've heard about the 2 S's before, so okay, Jo, do you want to unmute yourself and just make sure we can hear you?
Hello, unmuting.
Perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Hello.
I can hear you perfectly, Jo. One thing I will say to people, I think Jo's going to show us. Jo's a yoga teacher. She'll explain a little bit more about herself in a minute. Jo's going to show us a couple of techniques. What you can do, I think quite a few of you will maybe notice that you've got, you know, maybe kind of 5 or 6 profiles on your screen just now. What you can do is if you kind of hover over Jo, you'll see 3 little dots. If you click on those 3 little dots, you can pin Jo. And what that'll do is it'll get Jo into the majority of your screen, just so that you're not having to try and see what she's doing from a very small square. Okay.
Yeah. Hi everyone. I hope you're well today. It's nice to talk to you all. And I think sleep's a funny thing that we just forget about so much, and just kind of, with everything else that we do, think, say, breathe, it's just like, it's back here. And I think what Rachel was talking about, it sounds common sense, and I think sometimes we know it, but it's just doing it. And, you know, a lot of what I've been teaching people over the gazillion years of doing this now is with yoga, there's no right or wrong. There's no end game. There's no sort of pressure. And I think sometimes when we go to bed, we put ourselves under that pressure. God, I've got to get to sleep. That makes things worse. And I love yoga because there's no winning. The only thing that you're winning at is just making yourself feel really nice for this little bit of time. So obviously stress and anxiety, they play quite a large factor on our sleep, and also whether you're getting enough of it. And it's the same obviously with that when you're tired and depressed too, you know, which is why yoga is really good for depression, anxiety and stress. In a regular practice, and it doesn't have to be 90 minutes daily and all this, it really doesn't. It can be what I'm going to show you 2, 3, 4 times a week if you want. To say there's no pressure, it's all about just finding it for you. But a regular practice will in time alleviate stress and anxiety. And I'm just sort of going to go through the ways that why it does this. But it has the ability to lower cortisol levels and release tension. You know, cortisol is that nature's built-in alarm button that comes on if we're under pressure or if we're being in danger, feeling like that. And what happens is usually after your danger has passed, your cortisol dims down. So it's just like a light switch going down. And that should naturally kind of switch itself off. But when you're under constant stress coming from there, everywhere, you think about your light, it's just always on. So the button's staying on. And then your body gets used to the button being on. So you're living up here within it. And that becomes your normal. I say through experience, I have to say. So basically what we do is by balancing, I knew I wouldn't be able to read my own right, and I said this to Sarah earlier. So what we're doing is yoga is going to bring to the body to basically normalise your cortisol. So it will normalise it and it will dim your alarms back down. So it also stimulates what Rachel touched on, the parasympathetic nervous system. So it helps you feel calm and relaxed in your mind and body. So toxins often get stored as well in your organs and in your tissues. And yoga will help to release them. You know, they've done all these tests. They can't fathom out yet why this happens with yoga, but it does. The best thing is though, you go along with some breathing exercises, you'll replenish your body and you'll increase your circulation of oxygen. So doing a wee bit of yoga before bed will allow all these toxins to be released, and it will help calm your mind, and it will take your daily stresses off your body just by lying down on your mat or on a towel or on the floor. So, you know, just looking at it is a way to renew the body and reduce all of these strains, and it will help us get a better night's sleep. You know, it's undeniable that yoga provides people with a sense of calmness as well. I'm not saying that I walk about like Zen. As I say, life just throws stuff constantly, but I have to think, what would it be like without it? So there's a combination of it's the movements, it's the holding the poses, and it's the breathing. You know, it's the things that all work together. It's a really, really, really nice way to calm the mind. So when you start off, sometimes though, it can be a bit, remember when I started kind of a yoga class and I did it at the back, as you do, in the corner furthest away. I was like, what am I doing here? It really was like that. But I went back, something kind of was in my head that I needed it. And things started to let go of all everyone's looking at me kind of attitude, and just thought, you know, this is actually working. So if you do a wee bit of yoga, you know, done before bedtime, it can not only prepare you for a wee bit of shut-eye physically, but also mentally. So it's the physical and mental thing that's working together. And it really will help us settle our minds. You know, sleeping troubles can often be a result of something troubling our mind. We all experience this to some extent throughout our life. And it's when this mind can't stop jumping and firing about the place, and that's when sleep's difficult or impossible. It just goes round in cycles. So again, coming back to doing yoga before bedtime helps relax your body, helps calm your mind, and calms the chatter. In order for our body to relax to a sleeping level, we really need to shift our mind towards a more calmer state. So the thing with yoga is that it isn't a forced exercise, as I said before. You know, you'll ease yourself into a posture or stretch with no expectations, no judgment either. That's the biggest thing. I think we're so good at self-judgment. Can't do this or can't get there, or just feel good with it. It's just about what it does for you and how you feel right now. So there's no right or wrong. Just making yourself feel a wee bit better, and that's all that matters. I think that's the same approach maybe into sleep. So you're just feeling that wee bit of pressure off. It might help. So I've got a few little bits and bobs to show you. And I would be more than happy to chat to anybody after this about yoga. I'm doing quite a lot of Zoom classes online at the moment throughout the week. So you could always grab yourself a space within your home and join me for that. But there's, as I say, it's not about legs behind heads or fancy Instagram postures. It's just about some really simple but really lovely things. So, I think you can see my mat. I'm going to show you 5 easy poses. And as I say, I'll put these out to Sarah and you guys can have a wee go yourself. So this is the simple, it's called a spinal twist, but you're lying down. So it's called a supine, because it's on your floor. What this does is stretches your back, it stimulates your organs. So remember those toxins we spoke about? That's what they're going to get released. So all you're doing is literally letting your knees drop, relax your shoulders, and just let yourself flop into your mat. And as I say, the biggest thing about this is not trying to push yourself or force, and allowing yourself just to focus on your breath in and exhaling out. And just taking 5 nice easy breaths through your nose. And exhale, relaxing through the body, through your nose as well. And a wee head scan as well, so you relax through your face, check there's no tension in your jaw, your shoulders, easing any stress or strains you might be feeling through solar plexus in the centre of your chest. Relax into your hips, all the way through the legs. And then you just change sides, do the same thing again. Using that little body scan just to take it super soft. As I say, we're not trying to get anywhere, we're just opening, relaxing and softening down. So it's all about those nice words. So that's your first one. Second one, child's pose. Your own wee hidey-ho weight pose, I always call it. So just a really restful pose. It kind of calms your brain, which is a nice thing, and will help relieve your stress. Gives you a nice back and hip release too. As I say, it's kind of a safe place. So there's lots of variations of this, but simplest is just let your head go down. And what tends to happen is people just want to hold, let your weight drop and start to feel that sensation of the body down. So you again just use that scanning technique, relaxing the face, shoulders, neck and arms. Just checking again, you're not holding in the fingers. And just breathe down the back. It doesn't matter where your back lays and how far down towards your heels are. And just starting to be aware of the breath in the tummy against the thighs and the legs on the floor. You can have your eyes open as well and a really nice soft fuzzy gaze down to say it's your little space. So another option on this is a wee stretch out. And again, we're not trying to push any active stretching here. It's very passive, these moves. And maybe you just want to take your hands off to the right. Just wiggle your fingers away just to give yourself a nice side stretch. And then sweep them round. And again, over to the other side. Bringing your hands nice and safely to the sides of your knees and just roll up super slow. Coming out too fast, you might get a bit of a head rush. Next one, it's called bound angle pose. This is a really good one for calming the nervous system. I find I end up doing this with my arms on it. Don't know why. I use it a lot at the end of classes. It's just like, that sort of feeling is what you want to get from it. It's a really good one. It stimulates your heart, so you're improving your blood circulation with it as well. So lots of nice things that go on here. So again, this is just letting your feet come together and just sinking down, keeping it really soft, just with your legs relaxed like that, open. And it just kind of smooths and straightens your back out and opens your hips up, because we carry a lot of stress here. And especially at the moment, we're all sitting at makeshift desks at home, but not really made, you know. Ian's one next door is some music speakers piled up with records to bring the desk up to height, and then a chair that we've got from the kitchen. So everything's not quite right. So you're kind of in awkward positions. So stretches like this, or just say passive stretches, really lovely to do. 2 more. This is one of my favourite things I ever do, and everyone looks at me like I'm crazy when I start it, and then they try it and they're like, oh my God, and they do it all the time. Legs up the wall. So basically it's like the king of poses, as I say, restorative poses, and it will help with so many things and so many anxiety, depression, stress, headaches, keep going, menopause, blah, 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 there's loads of things. It also kind of relieves, because we've got our legs up, relieves your legs, lets the blood flow back down. There's something quite, again, it's all this magic that goes on inside that really helps. Improves your circulation. And also because your legs are up, the weight's dropping down into your hips, and you've got a natural curve in your back, it comes out. So it's a really lovely back stretch. So I'm going to show you on the radiator. As I say, try this at home. The secret to this, and what people tend to get wrong, is not getting their bum against the wall, put it politely. Turn yourself sideways on, make sure you're right up against the wall. That's your key. Float your legs up and just hang out. As I say, I could stay here all day. It's amazing. It's the most lovely feeling ever. It's quite nice just to put your hands again on your chest, just to sort of connect with your breath. Just let it go. And again, soft focus up. Just let the stress, if you've got anything going on, melt off. And again, the scan's really nice, just taking your breath through. So your forehead soft, your jaw, into your throat, your chest, release your shoulders. Just let yourself go and relax there. And stay there as long as you want. You can push it up and down too. That can feel quite good on your spine as well. Bring yourself out of it. Just hug your knees in and roll. And then finally, the last one is Shavasana. Just lying back. Again, this is a really nice, nourishing, nurturing posture for body, mind and spirit. A lot of people find it really hard to just find some stillness and lie still. So I just say, just give yourself 20 breaths. Just count that, but just let yourself go. And again, I use this technique. I'll use a breathing channel up your body, starting from your feet. So you kind of just let yourself relax. And everybody likes it in a different way. So again, you can hands up, hands down, hands here. And just breathe and start to breathe through your feet, into your ankles, your heels, and up through your calves. And as you exhale,
Joe? I don't know if it's just me, but I think we've lost you, Joe. She's maybe fallen asleep. Donna, if you're there, would you mind unmuting yourself and just confirming that? Oh yeah, Ruth, you're confirming that Joe's frozen on your screen as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no. Okay. Right, okay. That's fine. Oh. Yeah, it looks like she's leaving. Okay, we've lost Joe. Thankfully, she's managed to go through the five techniques that she was going to show us. I was going to bring her in just to ask her a couple of questions, but hopefully she'll be able to rejoin us. I wondered, Graham, if you wouldn't mind unmuting yourself and just coming in and just telling us, you've obviously kind of commented there about natural materials, good mattresses, etc. What Joe and Rachel have been speaking about, and just, I guess, from your, expertise with the with Glencraft, the kind of advice, I guess, that you would be giving people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Firstly, Sarah, thanks for allowing me on the call. It's been good to see. Can't really argue with a lot of what's been said. I think from a mattress viewpoint, it's not very faddy or fashionable to spend a lot of money on a mattress because there's no curb appeal, if you like. We all like to spend money on the outside of the house and new clothes, etc. But because we spend a lot of time in the bedroom, it's not something you can show off. you know what I mean? Does that make sense? We've been making mattresses since 1843, so 177 years. So we're pretty good at it. We specialise in luxury mattresses, although we have a mattress for everybody. We have classics right through the price range. We supply to the royal family. We've supplied 4 generations of the royal family. And leading on from what Joe and Rachel were saying, resting well, there's a real link in with well-being and mental health. So you really back that up. So what's different about us? We use a lot of natural materials in our mattresses. So things like horsehair. Horsehair has been used for centuries in mattresses. Mohair, cashmere, alpaca wool, natural wool itself, and these are all great materials to work with because they're open-celled and hollow. And really, I guess the main reason that people don't sleep is because they overheat. If we all think about memory foam mattresses, memory foam were very fashionable for a while, but what that doesn't do is get rid of that moisture that we all lose each night. Apologies if I'm upsetting your lunch here, but we all lose the equivalent of half a glass of perspiration into a mattress every night. And that gets wicked away with the moisture we use and goes through the 16 vents that we use in our mattresses. So it's important to keep cool and comfortable, otherwise you find yourself tossing and turning. I don't know if any of you are the type that look for the cool bit in the pillow. I'm always tossing over the pillow just to find that cool bit. And so, yeah, a good luxury mattress with natural materials can certainly help that and aid what the ladies have been saying.
Fantastic. Thanks very much. And Graham, I guess the is it the 99.9% of customers come in and say, I'm not having a good night's sleep, I need a new mattress. Is that?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it does take a long time to get used to it. When I say a long time, it can take many weeks to get used to that. We get customers coming in to our showroom, for instance, in Aberdeen, and it's just attached to our factory. Everything we do is bespoke and made to order. We don't carry stock, for instance, so it's made to you. But people wonder why they don't sleep in a new mattress and say, well, I've had my previous one for 25 years or 10 years or 15 years, whatever it may be. Naturally, your body is going to take a while to get used to anything different. So, yeah, it's worth persevering with, though, because we all feel, well, I guess the easiest way to describe it is we all know how bad we feel when we don't have a good night's sleep. Mm-hmm. What like that day is at work or with the children or whatever it may be, you're just not up for it. But, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Joe, you're back with us. You'll need to unmute yourself, Joe.
Thought I'd bored you all into running away.
We thought you'd fallen asleep.
Oh, bye. Yes.
You look so nice and relaxed as you froze on our screen.
Yes. No, that was it. I was done anyway. It was literally that was you lie down, breathe through your body, job done.
We're worried about you, Joe.
Don't worry, I'm always here somewhere.
So Joe, as Alison's mentioned before, Joe, before moving down to Dorset, just before COVID struck, Joe was actually based in Dundee and used to come into the chamber. We would do a yoga session once a week, and a lot of those poses Joe showed us, and it was a struggle to go back to work after it, to be honest, because you were so relaxed. You'd spend 45 minutes just not thinking about anything, relaxing, letting your mind go, letting your body go. So yeah, it was a relaxing afternoon that many of us had after one of Joe's sessions, but certainly definitely see the benefits in helping get a good night's sleep.
Yeah. The nice thing about it, you can use it. There's so many different poses to, like, you're in the morning, you feel rubbish when you wake up. There's stuff that can help you for that, which I use quite a lot sometimes as well. All this up here, all the stress and that we're holding in your shoulder area and around your neck. At the moment, I've been doing a specific session on that to help, because I say we're all sitting in weird positions and we're on meetings like this a lot. So we're all face forward, everything's here, like there. So it's trying to reopen and balance and bring the shoulder blades back out so that you're opening the front of your body as well. So we just don't sometimes realise how all these little things just affect, and you lie in bed and you're all stiff on one side because you're up here. It's trying to just rebalance. But say there's no perfect or hard and fast rules or end results. It's just something to try and make you feel a wee bit better just now. What it's all about.
Thanks very much, Jo.
Thank you.
I don't know if anybody wants to just unmute themselves and come and ask any questions to Rachel and or Jo. I'm sure there was lots of things mentioned, and I'm sure there's many things that you're sitting thinking, I'll be doing that tonight, I'll be trying that tonight.
Do you want me to send you over that little list of stuff, Sarah, and you can put that out if you want?
Yep, if you could do that, would be great, and we can share it with attendees. It's also been recorded as well, so if people do want to go back and revisit what Rachel was speaking about, or see the I guess the physical poses that Jo was doing, then to kind of recap on those, and people can do. It'll be up in about 24 hours onto our YouTube channel. So yeah. So yeah, we don't have any questions in the chat. Everybody's very, very quiet. Hope you've not all gone to sleep. Rachel, are you still there?
I am, yes.
Yeah.
Am I not showing?
No, you're going black.
It's just I don't know if you've dropped something over your camera or.
Oh, let me just. Is that back on again?
Oh, yep. You've jumped around my screen a couple of times. No, it's still just a black.
I wonder why that is. Okay. More actions. Let me. Am I still black? I don't know what's gone on. Anyway, you can hear me, can't you?
Yeah, we can hear you, Rachel. I guess there was obviously quite a lot that you talked about, from nutrition and oh, there you are, back in the room.
Oh no, she's gone again.
I'm back on again. Okay, it must have been. Okay, am I back again?
Yeah, so there was lots and lots of tips, to get that good night's sleep. What would be, the kind of first port of call? Is it, the technology? Is it the caffeine? Is it, your room temperature? What, obviously it's, if people are having a really, really difficult night's sleep, to try and fit all those things in just the one night.
Yeah.
Is there a...
Oh, that's a good question.
Top three to try, or is it just people dependent, really? It might be individually.
It is an individual thing. I went through a period of insomnia about 7 or 8 years ago, and that's actually how I got into sleep, because during my sleepless nights, I just read loads of books about sleep, and they eventually sent me to sleep. I was reading tomes and stuff about sleep. But I think if you are having problems sleeping, it's really important that you kind of strip back everything. So that then you can find out exactly what the problem is, because you get to a point where you're desperate to get a night's sleep. So I just basically cut out alcohol, cut out caffeine, just made sure that I was sort of eating early enough so that my food was digested before I went to sleep, kept the same bedtime and wake up time every day. So that's really important, actually, because your brain actually likes routine. It's very boring, your brain. So, depending on whether you're like an early morning lark or you're a night owl, it's just finding that sort of that bedtime that suits you and then just sticking to it. So my ideal sleep time is lights off at 10:30, wake up at 6:30. So at the moment, because of the summer, you tend to sleep less in the summer because it gets lighter. But I do actually wear an eye mask sometimes, so that then I don't wake up with the light if I want to have a longer sleep. So that then I'm getting sort of about 7.5 hours sleep. So I think it's important that if you are having problems, is be strict, and then gradually bring things sort of back in and just see what it is that upsets you. Just try something for like a couple of weeks. So whether or not if you think it's caffeine, well, if you have a cup of coffee before midday, does it still upset you? Because caffeine actually has a half-life and will stay in your system for 6 to 8 hours. So for example, sometimes caffeine will upset me, sometimes it won't. Sometimes I'll wake up with palpitations in the middle of the night, and I'll know that that's caffeine. If I drink wine too close to bedtime, that really dehydrates me and I get a really bad night's sleep. So I've discovered now that I can drink wine at lunchtime and it's fine. Or if I do want to drink in the evenings, I'll drink gin. So it doesn't mean I have to cut out alcohol completely. It makes me sound like a bit of an old alky. But it's that whole thing that I don't want to disrupt my sleep. So it's just finding what works for me. And I'll only drink at weekends. So and also just making sure that your bedroom is really comfortable. So it is. So I sought to a new mattress just before Christmas, got myself a new bed and had the new wool bedding as well, and that has just really sort of transformed my sleep. And making sure that, you know, in the hot weather that you know, even if you've got windows open, that maybe you need a fan. So I invested in a Dyson fan. When was it? About 3 or 4 years ago, and I just love it. Nothing goes between me and my fan. and it's great because it just keeps me cool at night. And the whole thing about, as Graham was saying, sort of sleeping in natural fibres. So wool is a hollow fibre, so it regulates your body temperature a lot better than feathers will. So yeah, so it's taking all these things into consideration. You know, not having too many sugary things before bedtime. You know, sometimes, you know, I used to think, oh, I'll have a little bit of chocolate, a bit of dark chocolate before bedtime. Chocolate contains caffeine and it's full of sugar. So, you know, it's just being really mindful about what you're doing and thinking, okay, what is it that I need to do to help me sleep better? But I'd probably say maybe number one thing is have a regular bedtime. So work out what the ideal time is for you. When you feel sleepy, go to bed. Don't fall asleep on the sofa, and just wake up naturally and just see what happens. You know, while we're in lockdown still, we're not going to be going back to an office, you know, in the future. Opportunity for you to sort of work out really what your body needs sleep-wise.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I am one of those guilty people who fall asleep on the sofa and then go to bed and then can't get back to sleep again. It's just I'll just close my eyes for 2 seconds and of course I'll wake up again, and an hour and a half later you've missed a lot.
That's right, and because we sleep in 90-minute cycles, it may take 90 minutes to go back to sleep again. So you like missed the boat.
Much, yes. Many techniques I'll be trying over the next couple of weeks. Okay, well, if that's everything from everybody, there's a couple of comments in the chat there that people can kind of have a look at from the routine, etc. But I would just like to thank both of our speakers, Rachel and Joe. It's been 2 years since we saw you, Rachel. Probably about a year since we saw you, Joe, so it's really nice to get you both. I think this whole lockdown has, you don't have to travel to take part in an event, which has been really good to get you both on the call. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you for joining us, and to everybody for joining us as well. Thanks very much for coming along. Wishing you a good night's sleep over the next couple of weeks. I'll send out just a survey from the event. I'll include the information that Joe's going to send me over about those positions. And like I say, the next 24 hours, the recording will be up on YouTube. So please do head back. Feel free to share it with family, friends, work colleagues. It's not a private account. The whole reason we're recording these is that we can be sharing it with more people. Obviously know that time is precious just now. So yeah, please feel free to share it with others who are perhaps struggling with sleep just now. But thank you very much. We hope to see you all on a webinar real soon. See you later.
Thank you. Bye.